Hey everyone, I think we're live. I hope so. I can never tell. So I'm keeping my video on in the background just to make sure. I'll turn that volume off once I know that we're here. Okay, looks like we are. Okay, I will mute that so we don't have to hear me twice. I'm so glad you're here. Well, yeah, it looks like there's a few people here. Say hey in the chat if you want. I shouldn't clap my hands near my microphone, I guess. Tell me what's on your needles today. I am working on a new hat design. I'm working on an article for Cast On magazine about beanies and toques. So I've got a couple of hats to go along with that. But I'm not going to be knitting anymore because I've got lots of books to show you. So I'll have to put my knitting aside so we can just focus on sock knitting books. That's our topic for the day. And we have lots to talk about. I've got a stack, like, well, 3 piles of books over here. I've kind of divided them up a little bit. So we're going to look at all of those. So go ahead and say hey if you want. We've got Dory. Hey, Dory, in North Carolina today. How is the weather where everybody is? Mine is kind of cold, not very nice here today. I was hoping it would be warm, so I put on like a nice summer dress because I was thinking it's going to be warm, and it's not very warm. I almost went to put on a sweater, but I was running out of time, so I didn't have to. So, hey, Ulrika in Sweden. So nice to have you here. I feel like I'm very international with everybody from all over the place. And Cindy in Idaho. And New York Knitter is here. Hi. And Mel is working on the Cocoa Knits Poncho Veronica. Oh, I love Cocoa Knits patterns. I've knit one of her following her sweater knitting method, and it was really nice, well-fitting cardigan. And Amaris in Georgia just finished knitting socks. Woohoo! And Nurse Kara in the Jersey Shore. Hey. Oh, and it's beautiful and sunny where Dory is. We'll send some of that sun my way. It's not very sunny here today. And Dawn, hey, in Jacksonville, Florida, working on a vanilla sock from Summerlee. Yep, she's on our list today. I don't have her book here. I don't actually have a lot of sock knitting books, but you guys had a lot of recommendations, and I got that one from the library, but it's still on hold because a lot of other people are in line in front of me for that book, so I don't have it here today. I was hoping it would show up in time, but I'm still on the waiting list. Okay, and Amaris is working on a crochet dress. That sounds really nice. Planning another knit sock project on my mind. And Andy in central Indiana, where it's super warm. Oh, I'm kind of jealous of all this warm weather. I want it to be warm here. And Nurse Kara, sunny and warming up, sitting on the sun, picking out a sewn bind off. Ooh, that's not fun. To frog a fingering weight silk project. Oh, well, hopefully you can reuse that yarn for something else that you do want. Okay, so that looks like everybody that's here for now. Hey, everybody, I'm so glad you're here hanging out with me today. So it is our Knit and Chat this month for June. The first Tuesday of June is Knit and Chat. And this month's topic, somebody asked if we would talk about socks because I think it was last month we had talked about sweater knitting books, and they're like, can we do the same thing but for socks? Because we had divided it up, you know, like pattern books and design books and all these different types. So I'm thinking, well, that would have been that's a really good idea. So I asked you about your favorites, so we're going to look at those, and then I've got piles right beside me. My actual sock knitting books, I don't have any physical ones. I've got like Kate Atherley's book and Ann Budd's book and Cookie A's book. Those are the 3 I have, and they're all digital. But I got them from the library so I could show them to you because it's kind of hard showing a digital book on the screen. And some other books as well. So we're going to talk about all of those. But let's start with, and I've kind of divided them up into like 3 categories. So there's like pattern books, you know, like, so the book is basically just sock patterns. It might have some other information, you know, like usually there's always a chapter about gauge and sock needles and like how to knit small circumferences in the round. But the majority of the book is like just straight up patterns, and there's usually maybe a theme around them. Like we've got one here called Charming Colorwork Socks, so that one's all color work. Or I know Line of Publications has one that's like 52 weeks of socks, so it's like just the gamut of just lots of sock patterns. And then the second category is sort of like an in-between. The next one I call like the pattern, it comes with it's a pattern recipe, but it's usually like one, you know, like a top down, toe up, maybe heel flap and gusset, and just one sock, maybe lots of different gauges, but it's like the one sock pattern. And then lots of information how to customize that particular pattern. And then maybe like most of the books are going to have like sock patterns in the book as well. So they take like their basic pattern and they show you, okay, here's all the ways you can knit these socks. And then the third category is sort of like a step beyond that. It's got all the heels and toes and sort of mix and match and choose your own. And also design. Like there might be more design related elements where you can take these things and design your own socks. So if you wanted to design for multiple sizes, those are the sock books that you'd probably want to look at. So I know like Kate Atherley's book is super popular and Bud's book is super popular. I put them in like that middle category because they do have like a base vanilla sock pattern, but they don't have like every heel and toe. You know, they've got like up one pattern and then how to take those and like customize them for your feet in particular or whoever you're knitting for. But then like that next category is like straight up design. Like you want all the heels and toes so you can really figure out what sock's going to fit you the best. So we are going to go to comments first. So these are the comments that were left, let me see, last Saturday. So they're all right here, but I can't like click on them to open them on this screen. So I've screenshotted all of them, but I do have a link to this down below. So if you want to go like read everybody's comments to see what sock knitting books that they recommended. So let's go here. So number one, Farmer's Wife, Summer Lee's sock project book. Oh, let me go to this screen. There we go. That's better. So I wish I had that one to show. I got it from the library when it first came out. Really good book, but I ordered it again, but I'm still on the waiting list. So I won't have it here to show you. But that one is like, everybody seems to love that one as well. But I did read somewhere that she likes her socks a little on like the looser side, not so tight. So you might want to like either size down needles or size down size. Maybe, I don't know. Try one sock and see how it fits. But color work is also going to change that. If you're knitting socks with color work, you actually don't want any negative ease because the strands don't stretch as much as like plain stockinette or ribbing or anything else. Like those stitch patterns are more stretchy. When you have stranded knitting, the knitting's only going to stretch as far as those strands allow. So it's always going to be like tighter than like stockinette. So those, it's more like knit them to the circumference of your actual foot and it'll probably be just fine. But for like most socks in general, you want them smaller than your foot so they're going to stay in place. But anyway, so Farmer's Wife recommends Summer Lee's sock project. And then Charlene Schurch's book, The Sock Knitter's Handbook. I've got that in my pile over here today. Socks from the Toe Up by Wendy Johnson. I have not seen this one, so I want to check that one out. Farmer's Wife says she's used that one multiple times. Same with Clara Parks's book, The Knitter's Book of Socks. It's another one I think I've seen in the past and I don't have with me. And Bud has a few. She's got like the Getting Started Knitting Socks, which is what I have over here. And then she has the Sock Knitting Masterclass, which is what Farmer's Wife is talking about. I remember this one. I remember watching this one when I first started knitting socks. It has a DVD. She says she's used it multiple times. You can't have too many sock books. Everyone might teach you something you'll carry on through your sock knitting journey. Yes, I agree. Like I like looking at all of the different sock books because you never know. You'll learn something new in different books. And I definitely agree with that. So Corrine says, I love Custom Socks Knit to Fit Your Feet by Kate Atherley. Yeah, she's going to be on this list a lot today, isn't she? It's a mathematical book, but I managed to custom knit a knee-high work sock for my husband, which fit beautifully, which was only my third pair of socks. Oh, that's impressive, Corrine. My third pair of socks is the first pair that actually fit me. I knit two pairs that were, one was too big, one was too small, and then the third fit me just right. So I'm really impressed that you've got a custom fit knee-high sock on your third pair. That's it. That's impressive. Like clap for Corrine. That's really good. And then 1111, Saltwater Socks by Christine LeGros and Shirley A. Scott. Oh, okay. There's a series, the Saltwater Knits. I didn't know there was a sock book as well. Has patterns in a variety of skill levels, but I see it as more than just a good book of patterns because it also contains the stories of our craft and its traditions. Oh, that's lovely. I really need to get that one. I've seen the other Saltwater Mittens, I think is one of them. And they're such good books just to read like the history of knitting. Those stories and shared history are what connects us as knitters. Totally agree. Yes, that's beautiful. I need to check that one out. So I'm going to have links for the ones some of the ones I'm going to show, but I'm not putting in links for every single book everybody's mentioned. So if you are interested in some of these, you're going to want to like write them down so you can go research for yourself which books you want to buy. So Blaze says, another one for Kate Atherley. We should just had a poll. Who's going to recommend Kate Atherley's book or Ann Budd's book? Those are like the top ones. Where I learned to fit socks to the wear. It's full of techniques and knitting math, the only kind I'm any good at, and tips and fabulous patterns. But I actually learned to knit socks from a Lucy Neat Bee first socks class. Ooh, that sounds nice too. I've taken some craftsy classes of Lucy's, and I would love to like take an in-person class. I bet she would just be great as like an in-person teacher. Okay, and Nurse Kara knits. I'm team Toe Up, so another vote for Wendy Johnson's Socks from the Toe Up. Okay, that's the second recommendation for that book. I'm gonna have to look at that one too. I also learned a lot about sock theory from the Sock Knitting Bible by Lynne Rowe. I've got that one here too to show. And side note, your tutorials in Toe Up Simple Socks number 6 saved my sock mojo. Oh, I'm so glad. Yay, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. Okay, and one more here. So New York Knitter, I think you're here today, New York Knitter. And Nurse Kara, you're here too. Good to have you guys here and leaving comments for me to share. Thank you. New York Knitter, Ann Budd's book, the Getting Started ones, and the other one she's mentioned, the Sock Knitters Workshop. That's another really good one as well. I've got that in my pile. And then so I do the same with my books. Like she says that she puts color tab, or maybe this one is in color tab sections, but I get like the little sticky tabs and I tab up my books. I don't have my sock books are digital. But some of my stitch pattern books, I do that. Like I've got each section that I refer to a lot, like with a tab in it, so I can get back to it really quickly. But maybe you mean the actual book has those. Okay, so Misha, Charlotte Stone, yep, that one's in my pile here. Charming Colorwork Socks gives a how-to section for designing your own sock motifs. Oh, I just flipped through it. I didn't see that. That's really good to know. I've also learned so much from trying different heels. Yes, I think it's really important to try out, like, you might be surprised which ones fit you the best. So to her surprise, I much prefer a German short row or shadow wrap heel to a heel flap and gusset because it fits my foot more snugly and doesn't stretch out the way my heel and gusset socks always do. So my big advice is to try different techniques. So many when it comes to socks. I'm planning to explore a new kind of toe that Roxanne Richardson recently posted in the last year anyway, for a toe with decreases that spiral around. And I so agree. Like, it's once you have, like you've knit a couple pairs, the basic construction, start trying out the different toes and heels. And plug for my patterns, all of them have different toes and heels, so you can try out all the different ones. And sometimes if it's just you want to try out the heel, you don't have to knit the whole sock. Like cast on enough, to get like an inch, and then start the heel, and then after the heel, do like another inch. Maybe put a little ribbing at both ends, and then you can like just try on the heel, see how that fits, and then you can always rip it out, use the yarn for something else. But it's a good way to actually see which one is going to fit your foot the best, or if you're knitting for somebody else, like maybe a different type of heel would fit them better, because a lot of it does depend on like your instep, like how tall your foot is, basically, like from the bottom to the top. That means that like right above where your heel is, where everything's sort of connected. Not like I can put my foot up here to show you, but like you've got your toe and you're coming along, and then there's your instep, and then you're turning and going up the other way. So the height of that area, that instep, that dictates really like the fit of that heel. And if you have a high instep, if like there's a big, like your foot is tall basically, then a heel flap and gusset is generally a better fit, and it's easier to sort of like modify because you can adjust the length and make it taller. A short row heel generally works for like standard foot that doesn't have much of a high instep, but that's just a generalization. There's things you can do to adjust, because I love the look of like a wrap and turn, or like a short row heel. Just that wedge when you do like in a separate color or whatever, I just think it looks pretty. But there's things you can do to adjust it. But that's the one part, like different heels are going to fit your foot differently. Okay, next recommendation. Knit Spring Girl Creations. My favorite book for helping me design my own or tweaking an existing pattern to suit me better is Sock Architecture by Lara Neel. That one's in my pile today too. Lots of different heels and toes with helpful instructions to use them with your stitch count. One of the very first sock books I bought was Cool Socks, Warm Feet by Lucy Neatby. Learned so much about socks from that book and love knitting socks. Currently knitting pair number 39 for the year. Oh my goodness, we're not even halfway through and you're on number 39. That's a lot of socks. I guess you do like your socks. And I have not seen that Lucy Neatby book, so I'm going to have to look for that one as well. Good recommendations today. And another one, Diana recommends Summer Lee's book. Okay, we've got a couple more recommendations, and then I'll see what you guys are saying over there. Mrs. Crafts a Lot Layer. My go-to is a basic sock pattern is called Toe-Up Fixation Footies by Sarah Arnold. And then Laura recommends Folk Socks, the history and techniques of hand-knitted footwear. Oh, I'm not familiar with that one either. That sounds like a really interesting one. And then one more that Joan sent by email, Custom Socks, which we've discussed, Getting Started Knitting Socks by Ann Budd, The Knitter's Book of Socks, and 52 Weeks of Socks. So we've got lots of good recommendations here. Hope you're taking notes. We are going to talk about some of these, but not all of them, because, I mean, I just don't. I wish I had the space for all these books, but I just don't. So let me just quickly go through and see if anybody has any more recommendations that they've popped into the chat. Oh, and you guys are knitting away right now. Since this is Knit and Chat, yes, Dory is taking a break from her shawl and working on her sweater. And Joan is knitting the Cartesian hat. Cartesian, I don't know how to say that word. But yes, Teresa is working on a pair of socks. So that's perfect since we're talking about sock knitting books. And Leslie is working on a lace ruana. Ooh, that sounds nice. And Audrey, Erin in Canada. Hey, Canada, currently knitting socks out of Kate Atherley's book. So isn't that perfect? We're talking about socks. You're knitting from a book published by a Canadian, and you're in Canada. Woohoo! And Linda, so happy for this live. Got my foot measurements and yarn and needle and not this for my skinny tall foot. Yes, foot measurements are important. It's important. Like, yeah, if you want things to fit, you've got to measure to see what's going on there. But I mean, you can do lots of measurements for your foot, but as long as you get, you know, like the ball of the foot or the angle, they should be pretty similar. If not, then you'll definitely want to check out Kate Atherley's book because she talks about a Frankensock is what she calls it in there, where you take two different sizes and combine them. But then, yeah, the big thing is like try different heels because you're going to find the type, like generally either heel flap and gusset or short row heel. One of those is going to fit you better than the other. But if you prefer the other one, then you can like seek out ways to adjust it if you want to use that one. But it's important just to know. Okay, so we're going to go to, if I can find there's my overhead. We're going to look at some of these books. Let me fix my camera. There we go. So like I said, we're divided sort of into three categories. I'm trying to read the chat and talk about books at the same time, and I can't multitask very well. So 3 categories. So the first category would be those books that I would call pattern books. Like it might have a little bit, like one of the people said that the Charming Colorwork Socks has a section on designing your own. Probably going to have a section, you know, on, well, knitting, the basics of knitting socks, or, you know, like knitting small circumferences in the round, basic techniques that you're going to need to know, like sock yarn, sock needles, notions, things like that. But then most of the book is patterns. So these are 2 that I happened to grab from my library. There were quite a few, but these are just what I had handy. And I was so hoping that I would have Summer Lee's book here by the time I was going live, but I do not. So anyway, this is the first one, Charming Colorwork Socks by Charlotte Stone. And I want to say I saw her, she was interviewed on, oh goodness, Fruity Knitting. The name almost escaped me there. So fairly recent, maybe not recently, I don't know. I don't watch them like super fast. I just kind of put them in a watch list and watch them occasionally. But I want to say that she was interviewed on Fruity Knitting, so you could go check out her interview anyway. And her socks are so cute. Like the tulips on here are just adorable. So, but stranded color work. So you do want to be more careful of like your gauge and your tension. You want it to be closer to your actual foot circumference, because color work, especially where the color work is all over the foot, it's not going to stretch the same as like a standard sock. If it's just like one piece, like at the cuff of the sock, it's probably going to be fine. And you could just like use your standard, you know, gauge for your sock, but especially when it's all over like this, you want to test and see. You don't want to knit the whole sock and find out it's too small. You want it closer to your actual foot measurement, probably. But now, of course, because it's copyrighted, we can't like show every page in the book, but we're gonna like look at the table of contents at least and get a good idea. Maybe look at a couple socks, and oh, we can see a lot of them right there. So yeah, some of them are just color work around the cuff. Trying not to get a glare, but some of them are color work all the way down. So that will affect how you're going to, you know, choose a size basically. So, oh, I like how this one is divided. Like it's divided up into different sections: crafty animals, flowers, the great outdoors, food, and celebrate good times. So there's like 4 or 5 patterns in each section. And then like all of the special techniques, abbreviations, stuff like that at the end. Then we've got this section at the beginning. So tips and tricks, sizing, gauge, floats, choosing colors, color dominance, and care. So let's take a little flip through. So this one is mostly going to be the patterns themselves though. So yeah, we've got lots of information here on all of those different topics. And then there's that first section, crafty animals. Oh, those socks are cute. So of course it's going to have like all the information you need. I'm not going to show the whole pattern, but it's going to have the pattern. You know, it's going to have pictures of the pattern, nice full color photographs that fill the page, and then the pattern for that particular pair of socks. And then in the back, we've got an index. We've got patterns right up to the end, reading a chart and duplicate stitch and some other things back here. So this is what I would call like a pattern book. Like it's mostly patterns, a little bit of other information, but it's going to just be a lot of patterns. This is another one that I found at my library. Kathleen Taylor's The Big Book of Socks, The Ultimate Beyond the Basics Guide to Knitting Socks. This one has 75 patterns, and you can see there's a lot of them on the cover. But I flipped through, and I would put this in this category of like, it's got a lot of things, but it's still a sock pattern book. Like it's lots of patterns. So just the introductory part at the beginning. Basic socks, striped socks, textured and cabled socks, lace socks, colorwork socks, and then just for fun. And then an appendix. There is more, sort of more heels and toes, and a glossary and resources and stuff like that. But I mean, you can see the majority of the book is patterns right there. Then of course we can quickly look. So needles, gauge, tools, swatching and measurements, sock tips, and then like your basic sock pattern. So this one starts with tube socks, which I think is really fun. If you're scared of heels, you can just knit a tube and that will work as a sock. It definitely will. I've got a video about doing like a spiral no heel sock. It's the same kind of idea. It uses a rib that spirals around. But you don't even need to do that. You can do them in plain stockinette. So this first section is just tube socks basically with no heels. But the whole book is, yeah, patterns, lots and lots of patterns. I missed that bit about heels in the back, so we're going to go back there. Oh, this is fun. Spiral self-patterning yarn. So this explains how to make your own, how to dye your own yarn for your own spiral socks. So that, or your own self-striping socks. That sounds really fun. I hadn't seen that in here. So yes, there's a section in the back that has different types of heels: afterthought, heel flap, and gusset. And then the instructions and stitch counts for all of those, and short row heel. So I like, oh, and some toes as well. So it's mostly, I mean, the book is about patterns, but it does have some heels and toes you could swap out in the back. So my next category of books would be sort of a pattern recipe. Like it's going to have maybe 1 or 2 patterns, but they're like a recipe, and the plan is for you to like fit it to either your own gauge or like Ann Budd's book, it's split up by the stitch count per inch, but it's like 1 or 2, maybe cuff down, toe up. It might have both. But then the rest of the book is like how to customize this basic pattern, you know, add stitch patterns and do all these things, and then probably some patterns in there as well. So these, I have 3 books that I would say fit within that category. This first one, How to Knit Socks That Fit. So this one is Toe Up and Cuff Down by Donna Drukenas. I'm not sure how to say her last name. But this one is it's a very tiny book, but it's really packed with information. So here is the table of contents for that. So talk about yarn, you know, what you need to know about yarn, needles, fit and sizing, and then the parts of the sock. So cuff down and toe up, and then like the basic pattern for cuff down and the basic pattern for toe up. And then there is a section here for some variations on the heels and toes, which is, I think, is really nice, because that's, you know, you get a basic pattern, but then you want to like get some, you know, try a different heel, try a different toe, see if there's one you prefer knitting. And I'm out of focus. Let's see if I can focus. There we go. And then a chapter on knitting 2 socks at once in here, and then some stitches. So, or a stitch dictionary sort of thing at the end, or library, she says. So you can take those basic patterns and then customize them. So this one is just black and white, but lots of photos in here. And it walks you through the whole step of knitting a sock, the whole process with some guidance, like with some sketches, not photos, but just like black and white sketches. So it does have like that pattern recipe, one for toe down, toe up, and one for cuff down. But then in the back, it does have some, well, stitch patterns, which is really nice. Knitting socks 2 at once, which is good. Some techniques. Okay, and then some heel and toe variations here in the back. So you can swap out the heels and toes in the recipe for some other heels and toes. So this is a really good one. I like it. It's small. I mean, if you like something like a book that you can like throw in your knitting bag with your pair of socks, this is perfect for that. So next in this list of like pattern recipes would be Ann Budd's Getting Started Knitting Socks. So if you're familiar with her other like top-down sweaters or her other books, all of them are divided by like gauge. So it's got lots of different sweaters, but it's broken up, like the sizes are, you know, by 1-inch stitch gauge. And this book is the same way. So each chapter is like a different stitch gauge. Okay, so here's our chapters here. So materials, the sock basics, you know, this one does have like all of like the working through a sock, and also the ways to knit in the round, taking your gauge. And then right here, so it is, it's one chapter, but it's a basic pattern, but you can use it based on your gauge. So there are patterns for 8 stitches to the inch, 7, 6, 5, and 4. So if you know what your gauge is, you would just flip to that basic pattern and you would knit using the gauge information there. And then it is like, it's a cuff down. So one sock, cuff down, heel flap, and gusset. That's what you're going to find. So all of these are exactly the same, cuff down, heel flap, and gusset, but it's based on your stitch gauge. And then the rest of the book is on adding color and texture, and then some patterns as well, and different variations that you could use for legs and cuffs. But as far as, I don't remember seeing anything up for other heels or toes. Like this is the pattern. Like you're going to have this basic pattern, but you can do all these things. It's got lots of other patterns in there, but they're all based on these basic instructions. So that pattern recipe sort of guideline. And this one, Kate Atherley's book, I say would fit in that same. It's sort of almost leaning into the designing as well, but those I feel like are a little step past this one. I love this book, though. I'm not saying that to like critique this book. I think this is a really good book. It's really good for customizing the fit, but it doesn't have like every heel and toe you can imagine in here, which is probably not what she was going for anyway. She was focusing on fit, not so much on trying every heel and toe. So she knew what her goal was and she stuck with that. Okay, so the contents for this book. So same as the others, you know, it's going to talk about sizing. I think she spends more time, and she's got tables and graphs, and this is very mathy, this book. If you like the math and you like the tables, then you want this book. So a lot of information on sizing, and especially what I really like is she's got this chapter, I'm skipping ahead, I know, on the non-average foot. So if regular socks like don't seem to fit you, then this is the book you want to come to and look at the things that you can adjust to get a sock that's going to fit you. So going back, okay, so we've got the sizing, yarn and needles and gauge. All the books are going to have that. And then the basic pattern. So hers is the same. It's a heel flap and gusset. There's a toe up and a top down. So cuff down, toe up, both like basic patterns. And then she has patterns in there as well that she, adding stitch patterns to it. But she walks you through all this. So it's almost like designing for a custom fit sock. And then like some case studies. So she has their patterns, she calls them case studies, where she takes these basic patterns and then, what she does to design a pair of socks from that. And then what I think is the best part of this book is like customizing it, fitting it to your foot, figuring out what heel is going to fit you best, or how to adjust the fit so it fits you best. But I mean, you're not going to find every heel and toe in this book. But this is the book you want if you want to talk about fit when it comes to a sock. So we have one more category. And this is probably my biggest pile of books. Yeah, lots of them. Because these are the ones I would call like you either want to design or you want to try all the heels and toes. You're going to find them in these books. So we're going to look at these, and then I can see the chat moving. So I'm going to go over there and see what you guys are talking about. But I want to talk about these first. And a lot of these are books that because I've designed some sock tutorials, really basic socks, but the goal was to try different heels and toes. So these are the books that I used to like work out those heels and toes. I had other resources as well, but just trying to like figure out what are all the heels and toes you could possibly try, and so these are a lot of the resources that I turned to learn some of these heels and toes. So Charlene Schurch, she's got a couple different books. I can't remember the other names off the top of my head, but I can't think of them. I'm trying to think of them and I can't, but this is a really good one. Her other sock book, Sensational Knitted Socks. I think there's 2 of them. Those are some good ones as well to check out. But this one's really good. I like that it has that coil binding so it lays flat, which is really nice. So here's our table of contents for this one. So yeah, the construction of a sock architecture, materials gauge, well, sock construction here. So I don't know what the difference is between the two. Techniques, tips and hints, stitch dictionary. Okay, so this one, it doesn't really tell you much here. Let me see, but I will show you, like this one is in color as well. But okay, here we go. Here's one, like the heel, like it tells you the heel, tells you some information about it, shows you a picture of it, and then it gives you all the instructions for like however many sizes. I don't know how many sizes, but a lot, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 sizes. So a lot of sizes in there. So not just like 3 sizes. Okay, so here's like a selection of cuffs. So each chapter or section of the book has this. It tells you like, here's your section. It's going to have heels, toes, whatever. And then a picture of each of them. And then you're going to find them. Like there's the knit one, purl one. So that's right over here on this page. So we don't need much for instructions for that. But it's going to have the heels and toes that have like this formula as well. So here's some heels. And there's some toes. So all of those are in this book. I don't know if it actually has any sort of patterns. It's more of a like build your own. Oh, there's the architecture right there. Like it shows you the different parts of the sock. I like how each part's done in a different color so you can really tell what's what in there. And all of she walks you through all of, the different common heel, French, Dutch heels, the strong heel, afterthought, short row. So this is sort of the pattern here, like, do your cuff, the leg, the heel, and here's your options for the heel. So you go pick out your heel. Which one do you want to put in here? Your foot and your toe. And then, so it's got casting on, even the cast-ons are in here. So this one is really good, and it's got a ton of numbers, and it's got a ton of like those heels and toes, but not like a pattern that's going to tell you to do this and this. You kind of have to figure out how that works. But if you've ever knit a sock, then you pretty much know like half the stitches are the top of the sock, half are the bottom. So, you know, like that bottom half is what you're going to use for your heel. So, I mean, that's sort of like the math right there. And then this is the one, though, if you really want to explore heels and toes or you want to start designing, I find this one very, very helpful. And this one as well, I have a digital copy of this one. This is Sock Innovation by Cookie A. I should say, if the one, I have Kate Atherley's book, I have Ann Budd's book, and the ones I just talked about, How to Knit Socks That Fit and the Sock Knitter's Handbook, are two that I am that are on my wish list. I haven't purchased them yet, but they're on my wish list. And I think, yeah, the last three in this pile, same. I want them on my shelf because I do design socks. So it's helpful to discover new ways to knit a heel, you know, so I could try something new or whatever. I have this one, Sock Innovation by Cookie A. And this is also, it's got lots of patterns. Like the second half of the book is patterns, you know, like, and beautiful, really textured and detailed and pretty patterns. I've knit a pair of socks from this book and I can't remember what they're called, but they are in here. But the first half of the book is really, really good. So second half patterns, first half is about design and how to place the stitches, like place the design on the foot or like the leg of the sock, different ways to place it. And I mean, she loves her texture. So if you want to like learn about design, you know, with all over texture, this is a really good resource. And then it does have a section of cuffs, heels, and toes. Not a ton, but it's got a few, you know, like the basic, you know, short row heel, heel flap and gusset, all of those. So it does have the basics, but I love it because the design section is really, really good. Oh, that's the pair of socks I knit. That one right there. I just love the way like the stitch pattern moves across the foot. You use like the side of the gusset for the stitches. It's a really fun pattern anyway. And that was in this one. So yeah, so she's got the cuffs and heels and toes in here. And then, yeah, even how to work an afterthought heel. But the design section, like here's just a little snap of it, like the different ways you could put a design on the sock. Because there's multiple ways, you know, like even in just this picture right here, trying to fit that in the frame, you know, like the cables, how do you want to divide them up so they are like right in line with the ankle bone, or do you want that one on the top of the foot? Or do you want to equally divide them front and back? Like she just walks you through that process of how to choose where to place elements on the sock, which is really, really nice. So this is a really good one if you want to design, but the patterns in here are lovely. Like I haven't knit any others, but they're just beautiful socks. And this one was also, I believe this one was recommended in the comments as well. Sock Architecture by Lara Neel. This is also on my to buy list because it is one that's full of those heels and toes. So this one, yeah, goes over the basics, you know, the foot shape, gauge, fabric, needles, and all that. And then top down socks and toe up socks. So this is split into two, but it's split into, so here's all the heel flaps and gussets. So there's more than one way to do a heel flap and gusset. And then an afterthought heel with a gusset, afterthought heels without gussets, and then short row heels. And then some toes. There's the top down sock toes. And then repeated for toe up socks. So the toes for toe up, heel flap and gussets, afterthought, short row, heel flap, shaped, joined heel flap. So it has all of those different parts of the sock. And here is like a picture. These are the, I think, patterns that are in the book, but then it's showing like some different options that it has that are in the book itself. So yeah, if you want, I didn't even realize there were that many heel flap and gusset. I know round and square and half handkerchief. That's like all I know, I think. There's a lot more than that. So then this one is, okay, let me see if I can, all right, so yeah, it's got pictures in here, but then it's mostly instructions like for each of those. So here is that modified shaped common heel. So a picture of that and then instructions for that. But it explains how to work out the math for the numbers. So it doesn't have like spelled out, you know, for like 15 sizes or something, but it tells you how to work that out. So that is, so color pictures, all of this. And it's just really broken up well. Like this is toe up socks and here are all of the toes, and it walks you through how that all works. And then are there patterns? Yeah, so the patterns are in the back. So there's patterns but it does have the numbers this time because it is a pattern. But then also like custom sizing, which is really nice, walks you through that process. So there is like a particular sock. The pattern is all here. So you can see how they take those basic heel and toe elements and turn it into a full pattern. So this one is really good, especially when it comes to like you want to like use your own numbers and just know like the method of creating that particular heel. Now the Sock Knitters Workshop is very similar, but this one has all the numbers charted out for you. So let me see if I can find one like right here. So for this heel, it has like all the numbers are charted. I'm not going to stay on there because, you know, copyright and stuff, but same idea as the previous book, but charted out instead. So here's the table of contents for this book. I should have said what this one was, did I? The Sock Knitters Workshop by Ewa Jostes and Stephanie Vanderlinden. So materials again, basics, casting on, and there's lots of cast on methods here, and then cuffs and all of the heels, and then toes. I think these are all cuffed down. I forgot to check that, but as far as I remember, this is starting, yeah, cuff down. Oh, and then other socks. So toe up, starting with the toes, toe up toes, heels for toe up socks, finishing for toe up socks. So all these heels and toes. So lots of heels and toes in here to try out. And then in the back, yes, we've got patterns again. So, but the book is mainly, you know, all of these heels and toes, and they're charted out with the instructions, but the numbers are charted. So, you know, like, depending on like what size you're knitting, how many stitches are in each part or whatever, full color photographs and instructions. This one I have to like really kind of like sit and pay attention. There's something about the charts that it's hard for me to absorb the numbers for some reason. But it's a good book. It's just for my brain, for some reason, I see the charts and I kind of freak out with all of the numbers. But for me, because I know like the numbers, you know, 8 stitches to the inch, and I know like the number of stitches I want in the socks I'm designing. So it's just sort of like the construction. I want to see basically how do you divide up the heel. Like a lot of the time, you know, like you'll have a heel, like half the stitches are your heel, but then a lot of the time, if you're going to do like a short row heel, you divide it into thirds, and the center third is what you don't touch, and you do your short rows on both sides. As long as I know that part, I can figure out the numbers myself, but the charts are in here. If you want all of the numbers for all of the sizes, like kids through like large man feet, then they're all in here. So this is a really good one for all of those heels and toes. And the last one on my list is the Sock Knitting Bible by Lynne Rowe. I think this one was mentioned earlier as well. I think this one is it's really pretty. Yeah, her flat lays and the pictures in here are just really lovely. And this one is similar. I don't think it has charts. This one didn't have charts. No. Yeah, just in like written instructions. So yeah, there's something though, like I see the charts and my brain kind of freezes up for a second. I don't know. That's like an issue I have, I guess. Other people, probably not a problem. So like the others, we've got, you know, sock anatomy, tools and materials, checking your gauge, and then the recipes. So this one has a cuff down sock, a toe up sock, and 2 needle socks. So I guess knitting flat. I hadn't looked at that one before. And then some variations on the sock recipe. So there's like a scrappy, a shorty, and a no heel sock. So that was another one of those, like, I think it's a ribbed, you know, spiral rib sock. And then the sock elements are in this section right here. So all the cuffs, all of the heels, cuff down, and then toe up. So there's not a ton of them, but there's plenty in here. So there's 4 cuff down heels, and then 4 toe up heels. So you still get a good variety. And then some toes, 2 for toe up socks and 3 for cuff down socks. So it's another mix and match, you know, like you mix and match and choose your way. And then down here in the bottom, there's patterns. So this book has a lot of patterns as well. So if you're looking for patterns, a lot of these books are going to have both. Not all of them, but a lot of them will have like all of the basics, but then they'll have patterns too on top of that. And then there's like all the technique stuff, like all the different ways of knitting in the round. And then, yeah, reading charts, casting on, short rows, all that stuff. So this one has the heels and toes, not as many, but I still think a good number of them. So here's a section on sock elements, and goodness, the pictures are just beautiful in this book. So yeah, so this is what you'll see. Like there is a picture of the cuff and then the instructions down here for cuff down, for toe up, for 2 needle, and all of that for each of the cuffs, and then a section for heels. So a picture of the heel and then all of the instructions. And this one does have 1, 2, 3, 4, so 5 sizes. So this one has the numbers for you, but not in a chart. I know some people like me, I don't love a chart. Well, I don't mind them written out like this so much. So it's got them sort of all written out for you. But I do like to learn like what's the method behind how you pick out that stitch number, because it's not random. You know, you're not just picking a random stitch count for each part of the heel or the number of rows you work. There is some math behind it. So I like to know like what's the method behind, you know, a certain heel or a toe. But this is another really, really well done. Not quite as much, I don't find, as like the number of heels and toes, but really good and really well laid out. And the pictures are very pretty. I just think this is a very pretty book. So that's it for the books that I wanted to show you. So I'm going to hop back over and see what you guys are saying over there. So if anybody else has any recommendations for heels, not heels, for sock books. Okay, where did we leave off? You guys are chatting a lot. Okay, I think we're right here. Hey, Catherine in Quebec, neighbor. I'm in Quebec too. Nice to have you here. One of these days I will try colorwork socks. Yeah, I haven't tried them yet either, actually. I like lots of texture and lace and cables, but I haven't done colorwork yet. It's on my list. Trying to think what's the name of the socks. Suzanne Bryan has some, the Starry Night socks, and those are just beautiful. So I've got the yarn for them, and I've been meaning to knit them, and I haven't cast them on yet. Oh, and the big book of socks. Did we talk about that? I've talked about so many books I can't remember anymore. But there's another one, the big book of socks. Okay, there. The word should have been, oh, how. Okay, in your other comment. Heel diagonal is 3.5 and greater width of foot. Franken socks. Yeah, yeah. When you get it, sometimes you have to. Like your foot is not going to like fit the average. But that happens to a lot of us. It happens with me with sweaters. I never fit into, like, I always have to make changes to a sweater. Hey, Sharon in Alberta. Nice to have you here. And Jess is here. Hi, Jess. You're watching and working today. And Audrey, I want to try the 2 socks at a time next. Oh, well, I've got a video for that. You'll have to look for that one. But yeah, there was a couple books that talked about 2 at a time. I can't remember which ones because we just flew right through them, but there are some. And Elvira in Argentina, hello. Someone who does non-average foot, jotting that one down. Yeah, the Kate Atherley book, that's definitely, if you want to really customize the fit, her book is very good. And Dory, I have 20 to 30 sock books of all types that I accumulated when I was trying to get into sock knitting, then found out I don't really like knitting socks. Oh, Dory. Thank you for the laugh today. Oh, that's funny. Time to like rehome them? I don't know. Oh, that's funny. And Jess, thank you for the live. I'm looking forward to trying it other heels and toes. Me too. I'm always looking for new ones. There's so many. I want to try like what is it, common heel before there's like the heel flap and gusset. I can't imagine. It looks like a seam on the bottom of the foot. I don't think it would be comfortable, but I'm tempted just to try it and see. Oh, and working on heels, it can also be done on my sock machine. Yeah, that's like a whole different, I have no idea like what the difference would be between the two or what you would have to adjust. But yeah, that would be, I feel like there should be books about that, like for the knitting, the sock machines. Yeah. Oh, and Dory, somebody, she has several books too, but then she went to a class and now she likes working on socks. So maybe you just need to go take a class. Oh, and yeah, done a couple Stephen West socks. Love the challenge. I haven't done any of his. He's got some great ones though, doesn't he? And Rowena in Belgium, hello, it's nice to have you here today. I feel like we're very international today, people from all over the world. Oh, this is a good idea, Jess. I like to use socks as sort of a swatch for new patterns. Gives me a taste of the stitch pattern so I can decide if I like the stitch pattern or not. It's a really good idea to do it on a sock first. Love that. Oh, you guys are already talking without me, huh? Did a class with 3 pairs of socks. It might be the small circumference. Yeah, it could be that. Could definitely be that. Have you tried different types of like needle configurations? Like, you know, I mean, probably DPNs, but magic loop or 2 circular. Sometimes you have to find like the method for knitting a small circumference that might change the way you feel. Like I've tried them all, and I think for me it was 2 circulars, which is kind of funny. Oh, and Candy says for her it's 9-inch circulars. Oh, and then I love that, Jess. I run a bunch of stitch patterns along the leg and they don't even match from on the second sock. But nobody cares. Yeah, nobody's looking at your socks to see if they match. That's such a good way to test out stitch patterns. I love that. Yeah, and especially if you find you like knitting them on a small circumference too, then you'll probably like them on other circumferences as well. Oh, and Bridget wants to know, am I the only one who knits 2 at a time toe-up socks? I've done it. I'm just not often. I haven't knit socks in a while. I really need to get back to knitting some socks. I don't know if I like 2 at a time. I feel like it moves faster. I know it can't. You're still knitting the 2 socks. Whether you do 1 at a time or 2 at a time, it's going to take you sort of the same amount of time. I don't know. We should time ourselves to see if we can knit 2 at a time faster. I don't know. That feels like another thing. But maybe we need to have a poll, like who's everybody's favorite like sock knitting method. Oh, and Nurse Kara, I do my 2 at a time-ish socks on 2 9-inch, working them in tandem. Oh, that's a good idea. Don't really like magic loop and always seem to stab myself with DPNs. I drop mine. I'm so used to using circulars for everything that if I'm on DPNs, I'm knitting along, and then I finish with that left needle and I let go because I think it's connected, and then I drop it because it's not connected to anything. It happens to me all the time. The worst is if I'm at church because, it clangs on the floor and it's loud. So I remind myself only circulars at church so I can't accidentally drop a needle. And Jess says she knits 2 at a time when knitting striped socks. Yeah, so you'd want to make sure the stripes are working out just the same. Yeah, that makes sense. And then Carb Larson, my first attempt at socks wasn't a real success in fit. I have an extremely high arch and ankles that have become super sensitive to anything that is even slightly binding. Ooh, yeah, you might want to check out Kate Atherley's book too to really get like a honed in on the right fit for your foot. It's really interesting how some people can sort of wear anything and nothing bothers them. And then other people, can feel like a seam or something, like every little thing. Or even like sometimes the purl part of like the reverse stockinette that's on your side of like on the inside. Sometimes that can bother people. So they like flip it so the stockinette side is against their foot because it's smoother. But yeah, we're all different. We all have different sensitivities in our feet. And Candy, I tried magic loop and found it fidgety. I may try again. If I tried 2 circulars. I know I didn't want to try it because I'm cheap and I didn't want to have like 2 of all my needles. But I already had one of the size I needed anyway for my socks. So I bought one other like in a 16-inch size. And that is now, if I want to do, yeah, if I'm doing a small circumference, that's probably my method of choice is 2 circulars. And I like it better than magic loop, and I don't get ladders like I would. Even with magic loop, trying to be careful, I would still get ladders on the sides. Don't get those with magic loop. No, I mean with 2 circulars. Socktopus 17 pairs of socks to knit and show off. I'm guessing this is a book by Alice Yu. I hadn't heard of this one before. There's another one for everybody to check out. Oh, and Ulrika, I think there's a group of people who agree with you, Dory, that, yeah, there's something about that small circumference. Yep, 9-inch. Yeah, I still don't love them. I can use the 9-inch circulars, but I don't love them. I don't mind them for like, like a US 4 or higher. Like if I'm doing a sleeve, I don't mind them. For socks, I don't really like them. I try and I try. Oh, that's how you use the machine. So Jess is saying I make a plain sock foot. So I knit the foot on the sock machine, then have been picking up and knitting the heel and pattern leg by hand. Oh, that sounds really nice. I have big feet, like 9.5 is the shoe size I wear. So the knitting the foot takes so much time. I probably need to get a sock machine, and then I can just do that part on the machine and do the rest by hand. That sounds such a good idea. That's probably why I don't knit many socks. All of like the people in my family, we have big feet. So it takes a lot of yarn, a lot of time to knit a pair of socks. No dainty feet in this house. And Linda, thank you for doing this. I have at least 4 books to check out that would fit my interest and needs. Just 4? I feel like there should be more than that, Linda. I know. I like narrowed it down. I'm like, what are the ones because I have some of them on my wish list. I'm like, what are the ones, that are at the top of the wish list? Because I don't have the space for all of them. Oh, that's a good idea too. Try a DK weight sock. And yeah, 2 circulars for Jess as well. Dora, you've tried them all already. Okay. I don't know what else. So maybe no socks for you. Or you could try DK weight socks. Maybe that would make a difference if it's a little bit thicker. Yeah. So what are you going to do about sleeves though? That's a small circumference. It's going to be the same issue as knitting a sock. Oh, and another book recommendations, Magically Delicious. Melissa Morgan Oakes has 2 books for 2 at a time socks. Okay, that's another recommendation for those who want to do the 2 at a time. Here's a book for you. There's another one. What's her name? Oh, Safia Talley, I think, has like, you knit 1 2, but it becomes 2 socks. Or knit 2 socks in 1. That might be the name. I'm not sure. But she does have a book about that where it's like you knit 1 tube, but it becomes a pair of socks. Like you start at one end, and then there's like the halfway point, and then you like start the next sock, and then you come back and do like you split it up and do the toes at the end. Maybe. I don't remember. I don't know how it works. But there is a book about that too. So that's like another thing to explore. Sin, watching from Iowa. Hey, Iowa, your chats are the best. Oh, good. I'm glad. I feel like I just sit here and scroll through everybody's comments, and that seems like it would be boring to watch. I don't know. But I need somebody here to talk with me. Oh, that's true. 2 at a time is not faster because you spend extra time untangling yarns. Yeah, that's true. So it's probably not any faster. So Marianne in Granville, Massachusetts loves knitting socks on 9-inch circulars. Knit 2 at a time, but on the individual circulars. Yeah, somebody else said that as well. Like knitting 2 at a time, like in tandem, but like finishing a cuff on one, then doing the cuff on the other. I did that with DPNs on one of my early pairs of socks. Like I had 2 sets of DPNs, so I did do the socks that way. Yeah, it's a really good way to do 2 at once, but have them on separate needles so you're not untangling yarns. Oh, that's good, Bridget. When I knit them at the same time, I make sure to make the same mistake in both socks. I love that. That's really good. Ooh, another for the 2 circs. Yep. We're going to have a t-shirt or something. 2 circulars. Oh, and yeah, Jess says I have to knit my husband's socks from alpaca or heel inside out because otherwise he can feel the stitches. Isn't that interesting how some people can really feel like that? That to me, that my daughter's kind of the same. She's very, like one of the socks, I think I did, it was supposed to be a Kitchener Grafton, but I didn't know it was like in the early days. So I like pulled it tight so it's almost like a seam. She can feel that on her toes and she does not like that at all. But me, I don't notice it. We have the same size feet, so I wear those socks and it doesn't bother me at all. But her, it's like she can feel that at the bottom of her toes and it bugs her so much. And yep, magic loop, only have to use 1 needle. That was why I wanted to like it, and I do like it, but 2 circulars beat it out. I don't know. I'm cheap and I didn't want to buy that second circular, but I do prefer it. Oh, Sock Madness. There you go. So that's a good, who hosts that? I've heard of it. I can't remember who does it, but good way if you want to go practice your sock knitting. Go join a knit along. Oh, I can't say I've done that, Jess. I like 12-inch circulars for socks is that when I reach in my bag, I don't accidentally catch the magic loop and magically pull out all of my stitches. Ouch, that would hurt, especially if you're knitting socks and those tiny stitches. That would not be fun. That would not be fun at all. I won't shoot you, Leslie. She says, I don't get ladders with magic loop anymore. Took a lot of trial and error, but I found my sweet spot. Yeah, oh, I've tried. I feel like I've tried, but I have to be so careful. If I'm very careful, I can do it, but I don't have to bother with two circulars. That just isn't an issue with them for some reason. Something that I do between the two, I don't know. I really should like record myself doing the two different ways and see what it is. Oh, The Sock Project by Summer Lee. Yeah, her socks are so pretty, aren't they? And knit your socks on straight needles. Oh, Dory, that could be something to try. Uh, do them, but then you have to sew them up, of course. But you could knit them flat. You can knit socks flat. Oh, Dory, haven't tried DK Socks. Melissa Morgan Oaks. Books are very well written with, oh, spiral spine. I love those spines. I just love them. They're the best when you want them to lay flat so you can knit right from the book. That's the best. Yeah, sweater sleeves not as bad as socks. Yeah, I agree. Okay. There's goodness, you guys. We got to wrap up. It's 12 o'clock. Let me see what else you're saying here. Rowena, I'm on my second attempt of knitting socks. I have tried Magic Loop, but that was a bust. So I tried Addie Crazy Trio, which was nice, but it was small for my hands. So DPNs it is. Yeah, it wasn't a huge. I have the Flexi Flips, the Crazy Trios too, and can never figure out how to really hold them. I'm always like changing how I hold them because I can never figure out a comfortable way to keep them in my hands. So I've done them for some tutorials, but they're not my favorite method either. And Lynn Lippy, DPNs all the way. Mel, I literally had a conversation with my kid about the illusion of not giving into consumerism in knitting by saying, I'm very likely to buy another sock knitting book, and here I am. Yeah, I guess yeah, conversation about consumerism would be good, but not when we're trying to buy books about socks. But yes, I mean, I don't know. It's a whole different conversation. Yeah. And Teresa, I knit all my socks on Magic Loop at tandem. I currently have 4 socks on the needles. 4. Whew. Okay, you go. And Dory, about put my eye out with Flexi Flips. Okay, I haven't done that. But yeah, just holding them is bad enough. Make socks with DK weight yarn, Marianne says, and they work up quickly. Yeah. I haven't done any. It's on my list to do is like find a new toe and heel that I haven't done and do like maybe some slipper socks for around the house because my old pair, which are store-bought, have like big holes in the feet and I need to replace them. So I'm thinking I should knit some. So maybe we'll like find a new heel and toe and do a whole tutorial about that. But I think that's going to be it for today. It's been a lot of fun chatting with all of you, and I hope you found some new sock knitting book recommendations. Our next live will be in 2 weeks, June 17th, 11 a.m. Eastern, same time, same place. It will be our Knitting 411, so we'll be discussing all of your knitting questions. So I will, of course, have a post go up probably for the Friday before. You can submit your questions there, and then we will chat about them. So that's it for this week. I hope you found some new sock books to check out. Of course, you don't have to buy them. Go check your library and see if they have them there. That's what I did, and I've got a whole stack here. And I am going to put some on my wish list because I want them in my home library. But oh, you guys are still talking in the chat. You're distracting me. I've got to wrap up. So thank you so much for joining me. If you're watching the replay, I'm going to put a playlist here so you can check out past episodes of our Knit and Chat for this past year. And if you're new, then I'll let YouTube recommend a video for you to watch next. And that's it for today's live. Thanks so much for joining me, everybody.